What's up guys, Louis here. Today I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can create vintage textured samples for the likes of Brent Faiyaz, Toliver and Travis Scott. But here's a quick preview of the sample I'm going to be breaking down. So thank you so much for watching the video guys. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and let's just get straight into it. Okay, so the first thing I did was came into Analog Labs and I grabbed this preset from Keon, Lay Down, which is kind of just like a Pigments preset. And I created some triads here. I think it's a D sharp minor, and then I just flipped it again on top. Then I added an E major 7th, I think that is, and added the bass note slightly lower, and pretty much just repeated that throughout, and then created some inversions for color. And then I essentially just randomized the velocities and strummed it a little bit so it sounds a little bit more natural. Then I just came in and added these little accent notes as a counter melody. Again, Analog Labs, and that was just an acoustic pluck. I didn't quantize those as well. I kind of wanted it to be off grid and get that vintage feel. Sometimes it's nice to leave things slightly imperfect, give that human feel. So then essentially I just brought those into the playlist, rendered them out, and then I added some effects. So to both of those, I added some pedals. So for the first one, I added this bitstream pedal and also this super color pedal, which essentially just gives it a little bit more color and texture, makes it sound way more vintage, and also some little extra artifacts in there. It just adds way more vintage color. And I pretty much did the same thing here, but added a separate one, added a reverb granulizer, and again another super color. All right, so for the third instrument, I came in again with Analog Labs. Pretty much all this whole melody was made with Analog Labs and some vocals. And came in, I found this preset, Mermaid, and I essentially just laid down this little counter melody pattern here. Just gives that kind of unsettling vibe. And then I just added some effects. So I added another pedal here, step shifter, and then I also added a shaper box here to just give it a little bit of movement. I kind of wanted that analog imperfect kind of vibe. Those textured artifacts and that gritty kind of imperfect sound just add character to samples. And a great way to do that is by adding pedals. If you can get those sounds from Analog Labs right out of the bank, you don't need to put too many effects on. But if you are interested in these pedals, these are from HZE and I just thought they were so fire. So yeah, that really for me gives that kind of vintage analog texture. Okay, so from there I just added more counter melodies, kind of creating more depth. So from here I created this super simple little counter melody. And again, that's just basically just a background noise that adds a little bit of tension without you really hearing it too much. And to that progression, I just added a chaos pattern which sounded like this when rendered out. Just really low key in the background. So quite simple, but just, yeah, adding a bit of atmosphere in there. Cool, so from there, I just added some lower end. So I took the high end out of all of these melodies here, and I just added this bass here, which was from Analog Labs again. And that was the bass evolving from the Lotus beta, so that's a free pack. Just following those root notes. Then just adding a little bit of an interesting walk up at the end, just gives it a little bit more character, I think. Also in Mike Dean's production, who does most stuff for Travis Scott, you always hear in his basses, they have these crazy glides, so I wanted to implement something like that. And that was the bulk of the sounds, really, bulk of the melody. And then after that, I just added this vocal. So originally it sounded like this. I didn't want to just basically just chuck a vocal in, so I'd made some edits to it, but I essentially just chopped those little bits up here. So I took sections from the start and the end and just placed them, repeated them. I kind of wanted to add a little bit of movement to that start and yeah, just have something a little bit more interesting. Yeah, I pretty much took that vocal and then after chopped up, just rendered it out, and that's what I've got here. And then pretty much that is the sample. So after that, I just rendered it out here and pitched it up 200 semitones. That's pretty much it, guys. I didn't add any effects to the master. I left it quite dry. And so the main takeaways I feel like from this sample would be add pedals to your progressions. You can get some really cool imperfect stuff. And those little imperfections is what really create the character in samples, in my opinion. And yeah, don't be afraid to leave stuff unquantized. Like, just don't be worried about things being off time or slightly weird, because sometimes that just adds a unique feel to it. Yeah, that is pretty much the sample, guys. I hope you guys learned something from this video. If you like this loop, go check the loops in my description at leuesound.com. I've got Analog Heaven, a load of Analog Labs presets, drum kit, loop kits, and a load more stuff to help you guys make the best music you can possibly make. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you all in the next one.